Welcome to Red True Crime, everyone. I'm your host, Rebecca, and we are going to be talking about some case updates this week. Well, there's been quite a few. Cecil Brockman's been rearrested. We now have two unidentified Black young females that were found in suitcases in Cleveland. And then I always have something to say about the shooting in Cincinnati that happened last weekend, plus the boys who were arrested and charged with sexual assault of a 12-year-old in Miami. So we got a lot of things to talk about tonight. So sit back, relax. It could be hard to hear a good chunk of it, and give me your comments as we go. So I'll be back in just a moment. Thank you for hanging out with me. So first and foremost, this seems to be the case that everyone has been talking about, and that has been the 12-year-old girl that was sexually assaulted in Miami over the summer, and the three boys that were arrested for her assault. So as we see right here, we have Nelson Nunez, who is the actual person who sexually assaulted her, Josiah Jones, who helped hold her down and throw rocks in her mouth to keep her from screaming, and Xavier Tyson, who also held her down and kept her from leaving. So these boys have gone to court, except for Xavier Tyson. He's the only one that hasn't gone to court yet. But Nelson Nunez and Josiah Jones have both gone to court. They have been denied bond, and they're being charged as adults in this case. Josiah is actually the youngest of the three. He's 12 years old. Now, this has brought up some big emotional feelings for the parents on both sides of this. You now have the parents of Josiah Jones saying he's 12, he didn't do this, this is not him, how could you charge him, he's a child. But hear the thing for yourself. I mean, this is what they're saying.
Well, I'm gonna always feel like as a mother, as a woman, I'm gonna.
It's not true.
That's the mother of 12-year-old Josiah Jones screaming at anyone who would listen after today's court hearing as her son faces charges as an adult in a case involving the rape of a 12-year-old girl.
I don't care if they get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 100 years. Guess what? I'm going to always feel like as a mother, as a woman, I'm going to always feel like it's not enough.
The girl's mother speaking to Local 10 recently saying she just wants justice for her daughter. According to police, the girl was leaving a friend's home when she encountered the boys near a community garden in Overtown. Investigators allege 13-year-old Nelson Nunez raped her, while 12-year-old Josiah Jones and Xavier Tyson, who was 14 at the time, restrained her. Police say Jones put rocks in her mouth to stop her from screaming. All three boys are being charged as adults. The victim says it went on for about 30 minutes, and the boys stopped when they heard her father calling her name. In court today, attorneys for two of the three boys arrested in this case formally entered not guilty pleas, requested jury trials, and invoked discovery requiring prosecutors to turn over all evidence. They also argued their clients, Jones and Nunez, should not be in adult jail.
At this point, you have a 13-year-old kid sitting in jail, and me and I think my co-counsel, the lawyer for the co-defendant, we both will be fighting hard to get our clients out of jail.
As for Jones's father, he tells us the allegations against his son are not true.
A young black man that was visiting Miami, it was with the wrong two kids, a 15 and a 14-year-old. My son is 12 years old and has a father that takes care of him. These allegations are bogus.
Okay, so let's talk about this. First and foremost, let's say, the parents are just beyond upset. They're worried for their son. They're worried for his safety. Now, Josiah and Nelson Nunez are both in an adult jail, but they're in a section of the jail for juvenile offenders that are being charged as adults. So they're not even around the regular inmate population at all. They are taken away from that. So there's at least that. But I get it. They're freaking out. My kid's 12. What the hell's going on? They're going to jail. I get all that. But and however, do not pull race into this, because that's fucking ridiculous. The girl is black. All three boys that are being charged are black. Where is this a racial thing? I don't get that at all. And here's my thing. You can take care of your kids. You can advise your kids. You can talk to your kids all damn day long. That 12-year-old made a choice to hang out with those boys and do what he did. He made a very, very bad choice. And now this could cost him the rest of his life. Because at the end of the day, all four of these kids, the girl who was attacked and these three boys, they're never going to be the same. That girl is never going to be the same. She was attacked and she was 12 years old. 12 years old. So there are people who are adults that happens to, and they never get over that. Not saying that's something you ever get over, but they have a hard time dealing in life with something like that. So, like I said, these boys did something very wrong, and they need to be held accountable. Now, the aunt of one of these three boys is out there saying that the girl's lying and that the mom is forcing the girl to say these things and that they're just trying to get money and whatnot. Now, I don't believe that at all. And because you have witnesses independent of this that saw that girl run from back there and heard her screaming, I should say. So people are grasping at straws here. They really are. And these boys need help. I mean, if it's jail time, it's jail time. If it's therapy, it's whatever. If it's all of it. But they need to be where they are, because they obviously don't have the impulse control to not do what they did. So they need to be where they are. And that's all I'm going to say to that. Okay, let's get to let's go here. So over the weekend, we had two shootings. The one in Austin, Texas, where a man went in there wearing Iran flag and went in there saying he's property of Allah, shot and killed two people. That shooter has been killed. And then at the same time in Cincinnati, Ohio, there was a shooting at a birthday party in a club called Riverfront Live. It used to be known as Annie's. I used to hang out there back in the day. Well, another shooting happened in the club and 9 people were shot. Nobody died, thank God, but 9 people were shot. Well, they have since arrested these two gentlemen here. Apparently, it was a long-time dispute between these two gentlemen. Both of them are felons. Both of them had weapons, and they're not supposed to. And they are now being charged on a federal level. So this is no longer something that happens on a state level. It's now gone federal because they're felons with guns that they weren't supposed to have. So, but looking very briefly into their background, both of them have fentanyl, cocaine charges of dealing, distributing, and whatnot. So, not the best of citizens, if I can say that. I mean, these guys have got a history. They both do. Now, I don't know if it's something where one was encroaching in on the other's territory, and then this was a thing like, hey, we're gonna make an ass of you in public. I don't know, but they're very fortunate that they didn't kill somebody. But there are 9 people that have been shot that are never going to get over that. That's traumatizing, no matter how you look at it. It just is. So, and let's get to this guy, Mr. Cecil Brockmanm. Now, I've covered him before. We've talked about him at length. He is, or was, a state representative for North Carolina, based out of High Point, North Carolina. Now, his story came out months ago where he was arrested because a boy, I think it's a boy, a minor got loose and he was looking for them and they found the minor. He had reported them missing. And then the minor ended up in the hospital and then the police were involved and they found the phone this kid had, and it had a lot of compromising videos and photos of Mr. Brockmanm and this kid, supposedly. So he was arrested. He was in jail for a little bit, and then he posted bond and he got out. So he's been out all this time. Well, now they have formally indicted him, and they've actually added more charges. And now he's been rearrested as of yesterday, and he has been denied bond. So he got, let me put my glasses on here. Statutory, let's see. They're all saying all this stuff happened in like August and September. So in August, he was arrested for a statutory sex offense with a child that's less than or equal to 15, indecent liberties with the child, and first-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. Yeah. And then same things for September 1st, and then 2 more charges of, let's see, September 19th. It was all of that again. So anyway, he has been denied bond. And what sickens me is about 2 months ago, he came out with a statement where he did an interview and tried to blame the child for all this. This was the kid's fault. He's saying, I went and got them in Atlanta, and their father didn't say anything about them being underage. And he lived with me, and they lived with me. And I thought they were 18 years old. And no. I think you can tell the difference between an 18-year-old person and a 15-year-old person. So you're full of it, dude. And thank God they have your ass in jail, you know. But he's going to be there for a minute because, like I said, so far he's been re-arrested. Now he could get bond, but right now as it stands, he has no bond associated with any of his charges. And he's already bonded out once. So, you know, I don't know how this is going to work. But he was somebody with a lot of power and a lot of pull. And he was actually using his position to get cops to do what he wanted them to do to find this kid. So it seems like the longer they've been investigating this, they found more things. That's what it looks like to me. But the grand jury indicted him 2 days ago. So he's been officially indicted. You know, he even had to step down from the Democratic Party. I mean, he's being hit hard with all of this, and as well as he should, because these are things you don't do with a minor. Mr. Cecil Brockmanm. Okay, so let's get to, let's see. Nope. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the Cleveland suitcase girls. I hate to give them that name because it just doesn't really evoke what is going on in Cleveland. But a day or so ago, a man walking his dog, and the dog got very interested in this, line of woods. And he tried to pull the dog away. And there were these 2 suitcases that were buried very shallowly, and the dog was not getting away from it. And he thought it was weird, so he went over and pulled one out and opened it, and there he saw a head, and he closed it and called the police. Now, since then, there's been a lot that's come out. Police, took the remains. They found that one child, and they're both children. One was between the ages of like 8 years old and 13 years old, and the other one was anywhere between like 10 and a half and 14 years old. And they've done some testing, DNA testing, and the girls are half sisters, and they are both African American. But there's been no information about anybody looking for these kids. Nothing. Like, nothing has been said. Now, I did see before I hopped on here that they did bring somebody in that could be involved in this case. But outside of that, I really don't know anything else. But they have confirmed both girls are related. But they don't know the cause of death yet, because the word is these bodies have been in the suitcases for a minute. So that's got to be an awful discovery. It really is. Dogs will pick up the damnedest things, I'm telling you. And that's absolutely crazy. But those are the updates on these cases, because this is absolutely upsetting. Between Cecil Brockmanm, the Cleveland case, the shooting in Austin, the shooting in Cincinnati, and this rape case in Florida, the world has gone completely nuts. And let's not forget Nancy Guthrie. We still have not heard any updates on her. Now they're looking at people. Now they're looking at gloves. Now there's more cameras. I don't know. It's so confusing day to day, and everybody has their own point on any of this. And I'm just kind of like, whatever. I have a feeling that Nancy Guthrie is probably going to go down the same way John Benet Ramsey did. Like, never truly solved, and we're always talking about it. Still to this day. I think that's going to be one of those cases. But you tell me. I mean, do you think Nancy Guthrie is going to get solved? I would love for it to get solved for Savannah Guthrie and her siblings, I mean, hell, I would love all the missing people cases to get solved so people can have closure. But honestly, does anybody think that that one's going to get solved? Because now we're a month out and there's nothing, absolutely nothing. And I can't understand why that is, because, ransom has been paid, people keep sending emails, but there's been no movement on this. And do you think the sheriff of Pima County has anything to do with this? Because, he was investigating it and then he kind of released the scene too soon for the FBI had a chance to get involved. How much blame is on him? So I don't know. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I can't think of anything else right now. But yeah, Cecil Brockmanm is a piece of work. Those boys in Florida are a piece of work. Their parents are a piece of work. And the world has gone crazy. Yep, the world has gone absolutely crazy. But, on the boys in Miami, do you think they should be held and charged to adults? I do. They did adult things, you get adult, charges. That's one thing I think. But tell me in the comments, do you guys think they should be charged as adults? Cecil Brockmanm, the representative from North Carolina, tell me, do you think he deserves bond to be, to get a bond and be out of jail with all the sex crimes he's being accused of? And the guys in Cincinnati, do you think they deserve to be on a federal indictment? I think so on that one. And yeah, so like I said, these are a couple of cases. Thinking about it, get back to me and let me know what you all think. But I'm going to hop off here. This is Rebecca with a Red True Crime. And as I always say, be weird, be rude, be safe. And if you have not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Like and share, comment, all the good stuff, and hit the bell, and you'll get told when I'm on here. So, okay. Well, everybody have a great night. Thank you again. And I'm out. Bye.